Super Bowl 60 is fast approaching, and you can bet on every moment of Super Bowl glory. Every trip to that end zone matters more than ever, as the Seahawks and the Patriots are going head-to-head. And DraftKings Sportsbook has all your favorite ways to bet touchdowns for Super Bowl 60. The next great Super Bowl touchdown is coming, and you can bet on every moment of glory. New customers, bet $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use the code SONNEN. DraftKings, the crown is yours. Stay in on the action and use your bonus bets on DraftKings same game parlays for a shot at an even bigger payout. Love the thrill of live betting? Bet live on star player props and in-progress games right as they happen. If sports betting is not yet available in your state, don't worry. You can still join in on all the fun with DraftKings Daily Fantasy Sports and have a shot to win cash prizes. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now. New customers, use my promo code SONNEN and bet just $5 on any wager and get $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. That's promo code SONNEN only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Young Misha Parsons, the gal that Volkanovski blew off. Yes, that's right. The lovely photograph girl at Bad Guy Inc. was setting up something for me called Discord. Now, to set up me on Discord, she needed my birth date, so she Googled me. When she Googled me, 4 questions came up. First off, is it legal to tickle in the UFC? Is 27 too late to start in MMA? Who is the 17-year-old in the UFC? And what was Chael Sonnen's testosterone level? All of this to find out my birthday. She sends it over. Well, let's go through them. I can answer the first 3, very quickly. Is it legal to tickle in the UFC? Yes, it is. Now, there's a theory, and this theory was created by Sensei Laura Gilbert, that if you gave the person the tickles, and that's very different, right? You got to give the person the giggles. You tickle them and then they get the giggles. But if they get the giggles, it would go to their opponent, it would go to the referee, it would go to the announce team, and we'd have this one big laugh fest. This was an actual theory that got taken to MMA super coach Greg Jackson. I am not joking. So could you tickle in the UFC? Yes. In terms of the motion where you take your fingers and yeah, you could do that. That's legal. It wouldn't work. I'll use myself, for example. I have extremely ticklish feet to the point I do not ever want them touched. And there's nothing I like better than like a body massage. I'll even have to tell my wife, do not touch my feet. They're just so ticklish. In that kind of environment, I would never know. You could take a feather to I would never know. There's too much, it's just too much. The tickles wouldn't work. Okay, I assume you're kind of joking and I gave you more of a serious answer, but in case you were being serious, there's a serious answer. Yeah, you could tickle. I would advise strongly against it. Is 27 too late to start MMA? Generally, yeah. Generally it is, and people will tell you that it's not, including me, but that's to make you feel good. And there are exceptions. Randy Couture started when he was 34. Everybody loves to tell that story. Aaron Simpson didn't get into the UFC until he was 36, I believe. Had already been fighting but didn't get in. Yoel Romero got into the UFC at 36, I believe. My point though, Randy Couture, when he had his first MMA at 34, had 20 years of world-class wrestling behind him. So it wasn't quite starting MMA. Like, I would need to hear a little more from you. When you say, is 27 too late to start MMA? I would need to hear, did you play ball all the way through college? Were you into lifting weights and you were in the gym? Like, what was your background? If we're starting at scratch with nothing, you and breaking a sweat and getting a t-shirt soaking wet are not familiar with one another, 27-year-old is pretty late for MMA because it's just not something you play. Now, you could go and get involved with mixed martial arts classes or martial arts classes more specifically. Jiu-jitsu would be a wonderful thing if you wanted to get your foot in the door. All right, who is the 17-year-old in the UFC? I'm surprised that came up with a Google search of my name, but Rojas Jr. That's the only 17-year-old to fight in the UFC. Awesome guy, by the way. If you see him at a distance, he doesn't seem like the world's nicest guy. Like, he's a rough dude. There was some influencer that went to his gym and started to pick on him, had like a hidden camp. That influencer got his ass whipped. Like, Rojas doesn't maybe seem like the nicest guy. I'm telling you, I met him a number of times. Tremendous. Very well-raised young man, always has his buddies with him, like his actual childhood friends. He keeps a real close circle. It's a small circle, but he's got his friends with him. Great guy. What was Chael Sonnen's testosterone level? So, this is a story I've never discussed, and I don't mind answering it now because I said that I would, but I don't want to put up a defense for myself. The entire bad guy character got over in large part from me not putting up a defense. When you put up a defense, it does a couple of things. It gives a perception that you care. If you care, you're not a bad guy. And if you're trying to clear your name, you're not a bad guy. So it's one of those interesting spots. To just answer the question directly, I was never accused of having high testosterone. Never. And if you Google it, you'll see reports. Somebody said it was more than a racehorse, which my father used to race thoroughbreds. That is actually accurate. Like what people were accusing me of online would have been more testosterone than a horse. It was just ridiculous. Chael has 6 times what a man can have. I was never accused of that. I never had to answer for that. The state of California, where I had a hearing, that was no part of it. They never made that claim. But that claim got put out by a writer named Josh Gross. And at the time, Josh Gross worked for a network called ESPN.com, which at that time would have been the biggest thing in our sport. Nothing could touch it. You'd have the BloodyElbow.com, the MMAmedia.com. We were never on TMZ. Jim Rome didn't talk about us at all. ESPN.com was a big deal. So when that hit, my first response was to defend it. It wasn't to be a bad guy. It was to defend it and say, hey, wait a minute. I'm not accused of that at all. I don't know anything about levels, but I don't have to. Nobody's brought levels to me. This is a fictional statement. And I started to do that. And one thing about politics, if you're explaining, you're losing. And I found that out very quickly. As I began to tell the truth, it began to get resisted. I learned something from a psychological standpoint. If you say something good about yourself, if you say a truth about yourself that's positive, people will often think you're lying. If you say a lie about yourself that's negative, people will always believe you. And it was actually this false testosterone narrative was the genesis of creating the character that I now know as the bad guy.